What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to DSM Pre Game Live, Sixers Jazz edition, streaming to you guys live exclusively on DSM Media's YouTube channel. So if you're new to the channel, head on over to @DSM_media on Twitter. Hit that follow button. We greatly appreciate it. And while you're on the page, check out the link tree in our bio to take you to every social media platform we are available on. And that's where you can come over to the YouTube channel and subscribe. Like this video and comment. It's the best place to get your thoughts, comments, questions pulled up. We have a trio going on here tonight. I am 1/3 of your host, Dylan Davis. You can find me on Twitter @DylanJD98. My faithful co-host, Scotty. Check him out @ScottyDrown. And the host of Trending in the AM here on DSM Media, Phil Stifle. Check him out on Twitter as well, @BeardofKnowledge. Fellas, Sixers second half of a back-to-back. They come away with a big win last night at home versus the Hawks. How are we feeling?
I'll divulge to Phil. You can go ahead and go first.
I'm feeling exactly how I expected to feel at this point. You know, like completely like whatever. Like they lose a couple games and they win a couple games, and they lose a couple games and they look good, then they look bad, then they look good, then they look bad. So I literally have zero idea how to expect them to come out tonight against a Utah Jazz team that we all thought was in tank process.
They don't know how to tank. Scotty and I have talked about
they're trying to be bad and they're not. So literally, I have no idea how to even feel about this game tonight.
Scotty, how are you feeling about tonight? And also, what stood out to you last night?
Yeah, no, I'm feeling good. Can't feel. I can't feel any worse after last night. Right? That win last night was pretty good. You saw everything you wanted to see as far as what they should do, especially after an embarrassing loss on Thursday night, I believe it was. Wanted to shout out my man Luke. Let's go Sixers. That's how I'm feeling tonight. I'm feeling like let's get a W. It's a perfect night. As far as a Sunday, there's no Eagles on today, so I didn't have to get up or down for that. I'm getting up for the Sixers today, and that's all I really have to get up for. So I'm excited nonetheless. It's another game. It's another opportunity. Sort of what Phil said, it's another opportunity to get on the right track and build something, start it over, right?
For sure.
I wanted to get a winning streak going after that Phoenix Suns game. They dropped the game in Atlanta. We couldn't get that winning streak going. Let's get the winning streak started tonight with 2, and then we'll go from there. We got a nice break in between if we can just pull out this W tonight.
I think that's the key right there. I'm sorry, Dylan.
No, go ahead.
Scotty, you mentioned we got a nice break. We've got 4 days off. And my whole mindset going into this game is empty in the tank. Don't leave anything on the board.
I feel that.
Table. Just if you need to play Joel 38, 40, 41 minutes, you do. You play Maxey 42, you do whatever it is. 4 days off is 4 days off. Yeah. So you empty the tank tonight.
Empty the clip. I love it. But Scotty, before we get into tonight's matchup, keys to victory, our goal of the game, best bets, all that kind of fun stuff, I do want to gloss over the win last night because obviously the big three, without James Harden, you have Tobias Harris, who went over 20 last night. Tyrese Maxey seemed to get back into his rhythm a little bit, 3 for 5 from deep, 26 points. Joel Embiid dropping a 40-plus burger last night. But the thing that stuck out to me in the glimpses that I was able to catch, the energy and the emotion from Joel. It was one of the first times through the first 12 games of the season or so that you've seen him embrace the crowd again, let out a yell, let a fist fly, and after an N1 or a big shot or something like that. So energy was the word that you and I, effort, energy was the word that, we spoke on yesterday afternoon for this team. And I think last night was the first time you kind of started to feel that energy and that emotion out of this team. Was that a big proponent in last night, or was it just kind of like one here? Joel gave a little fist and there you go.
No, I think the energy was right last night when they came out, and that it starts with Embiid, man. You got to set the tone, and that's what we've been saying all season. That's why, once again, to Phil's point from earlier in the show, you got to take it for what it is. We got to take it one game at a time because we've seen that before, right? We've seen that mirage before that the Sixers can put up at times. But Embiid, right? You come out, you set the tone from the jump. You have a 40-burger, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. It was his best passing game, most patient he's looked all season in my eyes. And only 4 turnovers, right? You cut the turnovers in half from the previous game. And I thought this was his first MVP caliber of performance. There was a game earlier in the season where I think he got up close to 40. I think he may have had like 39, maybe even he may have even hit 40. But this was his best complete game all around. And you saw it on the defensive end as well. He had 2 steals, 2 blocks. So Embiid sets the tone for this team. That's how it's always going to be. And that's why every single night he has to come out and look like he did last night. Everybody else will follow. Tobias, Maxey, and company.
So, Phil, what stood out to you last night before we get into tonight's game?
I mean, I only caught focused-wise, like super focused the second half of the game, but it was holding it together. It was not blowing that lead. And exactly what everything Scotty said and you said. Fair. The energy level from Joel. Joel didn't hear me say I wanted him out. Again. Joel heard me say, is it time to question Joel Embiid? I just wanted to bring the question to the table. I never said I want Joel out, but he did hear. And he does. We know Joel Embiid listens to social media. We know he's always out there, and he's in tune with what the fans are saying. And that's what I take away from the game, that he almost, to me, Scotty, Dylan, I don't know if you saw this, I kind of feel like he's taking how we're perceiving him, the fan base, personally.
Yeah.
And maybe, I don't know, he needs to do it again tonight. You know, we talked about it with other sports and other games, and Jalen Hurts' practices stacking things. He needs to stack these games. You know, take it personally, take the criticism personally.
Embrace it. Find a way to embrace it.
Embrace it if you have to.
Because what was it, last year or 2 years ago? I don't think it was Joel. I want to say this was Tobias, but do you remember when one of the players, I feel like it was Harris,
he clapped back
was catching a lot of flack from the fan base for a while, and at a home game, they cheered something, you know, a shot, whatever, late in the game, and he either like shushed them or said something.
He clapped back.
It was last season. He got a bucket after the fans were booing him for majority of the game. He got a bucket and he said, they started clapping for him. He said, sit the
I remember down. I think I titled that next day's show, The Clap Heard Around the World.
Yeah.
Clap Heard Around the World, something like that.
My point was, don't do that.
Yeah, literally
embrace the negativity or the shots taken at you, but use it to motivate you and get better. And know that the boos, or it's not heckling, it's just we see the effort, we see the down performances. So when they come out and play flat, that's when you'll hear this crowd. Scotty, you brought it up on yesterday's show. Don't get booed. Like, don't get booed at home. Don't play down to that extent. Against the Hawks, and they didn't. They came out with a big-time win. They had the lead the entire game, or a majority of the game. Joel, Maxey, Tobias were all spectacular. The bench, obviously, no DeAnthony Melton, so Matisse Thybulle started in place of him. Can I ask you guys a question about, like, Scotty, you know, I brought up to you the other day how it's like, I just feel like I'm seeing so much Shake Milton. I know without Harden, that's going to be emphasized, and of course, Shake has to play to eat up those guard minutes, but it's like he went from not playing in the beginning of the season to playing a major role now. Matisse Thybulle gets anywhere from 0 to 3 minutes a game, and then when DeAnthony Melton can't go, he's starting. Like, is it weird that like there's a huge gap in his minutes and Doc's rotation?
I don't know if you want me to hit that first, Phil.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
I addressed it to you. I mean, it's pretty obvious for me. It's Doc Rivers, the lack of consistency in his rotation. I mean, some nights you say Shake, I could say Montrezl Harrell versus Paul.
He didn't play last night.
I mean, did you ever think Montrezl Harrell would get a DMP coach's decision this early in the season? That all, Dylan, in my opinion, falls on Doc Rivers, his rotation, and how he's managing the extra pieces on this team outside of Joel, Tyrese, James Harden when he's healthy.
Yeah, and I'll take it to the extent, Scotty, of, my thoughts and opinions on Matisse Thybulle. We kind of wrecked him yesterday, right? Like, what do you work on every year? Like, he's the same player today as the day he entered the league. But it's also, at the same time, not fair to Matisse Thybulle. Just like it's not fair, like we discussed, to Paul Reed and Montrezl Harrell to night not know if your name's going to get called, or maybe he gets called in the first half for 4 minutes and then the other guy gets a shot at it in the second half. There's no consistency, like you said, Phil, within this rotation. And I get there's injuries, man. You're down Harden, you're down Melton. You got to plug and play. but I just don't understand the starting minutes because of one injury and then 0 minutes without the injury. Like, I'm interested to see how much Tease plays tonight with Melton back in the lineup. Does he play 2 minutes or does he play 10 minutes? It'll be interesting to see, but let's get into this game tonight. Scotty.
I did just I wanted to present just a little bit of a devil's advocate, just to the rotation. The devil's advocate perspective on this whole rotation and everything that's going on here is that these guys aren't earning the minutes whenever they're in there. Like, they're not making the difference whenever they do get the minutes. Like, Matisse got 30 minutes last night, right? He gets the start. So tonight, if we don't see him, that kind of makes sense. He only had 3 points, 1 for 4, 1 for 5 from the field. So it's like, if you're only making that, if you're only doing that within the 30 minutes, then when Melton gets back, you're not coming back in. So, like, from that standpoint, and the thing with Shake, same thing. I think with Harden being out, just another ball handler, especially with Melton out last night. We needed Shake in there. But no, it is, from a consistency standpoint, it's hard to build chemistry that way. It's hard to build fluidity throughout the game, right? When you have different lineups in, if they're different every single time. So I do feel you. Just presenting a little bit of a devil's advocate there.
Just as you were speaking, something popped into my head, and I'm looking at Gint's comment about how he's not a rhythm guy. So that makes sense. Tease doesn't need consistent minutes to come in because he's a streaky shooter or anything like that. However, does it worry you guys that we might have too many guys on this roster that do the same thing? Like, Scotty, you just mentioned Matisse Thybulle played 30 minutes last night. He had 3 points. PJ Tucker played over 30 minutes as well. He had 2 points. PJ Tucker, I don't think, is averaging over 5 points. And I know PJ Tucker is not going to come in here and take 8 to 10 shots and average double figures. I'm not saying any of that, but, like, there's a lot of nights where PJ Tucker takes 1 or 2 shots.
Yeah.
Same thing with Matisse Thybulle. And then you guys on the reverse, you have guys like George Niang and Furkan Korkmaz and Daniel House who can only really get minutes and be effective if they're knocking down jumpers. They don't do anything else really well. So it's just very, I don't know. That part sticks out to me.
I got the perfect answer for you. This team is built around James Harden. It's not built around Joel Embiid. That's literally, I'm looking at the box score from last night. I'm just looking at where all the points came from. 3 guys, right? It was Embiid, Tobias, and Maxey. And the rest of these guys, PJ Tucker only gets 1 shot last night. These guys all rely on a facilitator. Like, nobody else can get their own shot. Nobody else can score off the dribble. It's literally, you just have floor spacers out there for James Harden whenever he's penetrating. And, how do you find the balance with that when you play with Embiid? It's just such a different game. It's interesting when you really point that out, and I just look at that. Like, the team is built around James Harden, and he's the biggest missing piece right now, and it's going to look like this majority of the time until he gets back, I feel like, because these guys are just so inconsistent, streaky shooters.
It's a great point. Yeah, because
you guys both made really great points there.
Because we sit back and we just assume, like, obviously this is Joel's team, doesn't necessarily mean the team's catering to his abilities the best way that it could potentially be put out there. But let's get into tonight's matchup versus the Utah Jazz. Keys to victory. Scotty, I'll start with you. I know we were texting back and forth about this a little bit. What do the Sixers need to do correctly? I feel like we're going to be talking about energy again here tonight until we start to see that consistently. And that, as well as you're playing in a back-to-back. Energy is going to be a major piece in tonight's game. So what do they have to do well tonight?
So I got 2 things for him tonight. So first thing, you hit the nail on the head. Play with energy. I have it written down here. Rebounding, transition, and focus. You have to be focused when you step on the floor tonight. But along with that, I told you about this earlier, Dylan. They lost the rebound battle last night. That was a 1 negative, 43 to 31. Offensive rebounds, 12-2. They lost that battle to the Atlanta Hawks last night. That's an issue, right? That's a big negative. It's part of the reason the Hawks are able to get back into that game after being down 27. So I want to see the laser focus, the energy, getting on the boards, controlling the boards. Look across at the Utah Jazz. They got guys that can score. They got guys that can space the floor. They don't got guys that eat up the boards. There's no reason that these guys should dominate you on the glass tonight. My other thing, stay out of foul trouble. Embiid, he's kind of been tiptoeing around foul trouble, kind of keeping him out of games. In a game like this tonight, we need our stars on the floor so we can get these guys out of here early. I know that probably won't happen, guys. I know that they should do things like that. It probably won't happen, but at least give yourself a chance to get ahead in this game. Don't make yourself have to fight back because you're in foul trouble and you have your stars out. Those would be my two keys to start here.
Phil, what can the Sixers do correctly tonight to find a way to win?
So first off, I have one other like physically on the court thing, but it's obviously before that, it's empty in the tank. You know, you got 4 days off.
Yeah.
The other thing, we've talked about it on Trending. Dylan, you've talked with me. Scotty, you've talked with me about this same thing, is that, you know, obviously Drew's comment and fire Doc, going to hear the fire Doc chants. Doc's obviously got something else going on personally, missing the, you know, the post-game press conference last night. We've talked on the morning show that Doc doesn't come back this year unless James Harden and Joel Embiid signed off on it. Yeah. I want to see Joel Embiid. Obviously, James can't because he's not there right now. Stand up for your coach. I want to see him empty the tank, but also put the effort out there, you know, so that those chances. We don't want to have our coach fired. We might think he needs to be, but we're better off keeping that consistency in that coach here. So play for your coach. Yeah. You know, whatever's going on, I want to see them play.
That's a great point.
But on the court, you know, everyone's talking about the Sixers back-to-back. The Jazz are on a back-to-back as well, and they're back-to-back road games. So somebody else has to step up. Obviously, Tobias, Tyrese, and Joel are going to lead this way. But I need somebody else on this team, at least, not even double digits. I need 12, 15, 18 points from Melton or George Niang or I don't care where it comes from. Somebody has to step up tonight outside of those three guys.
The others.
The
others have to do something.
I mean, Joel played 40 minutes last night. If he has to get to 40 minutes, he's going to tire. Somebody has to step up offensively for this team tonight.
And getting playing devil's advocate a little bit as well with this, because Joel did have the ankle taped in the post-game presser. And
you know, did I miss something, or was last night the first time we've heard anybody talk about the shoulder and Joel Embiid, where he said
it is the first time
he can't lift his shoulder up above his head sometimes.
It is the first time I've heard that. Yeah, I mean, for sure. I do remember seeing that.
You know, Gint saying he shouldn't even be suiting up tonight. Well, he has to at this point. But I'm really concerned about that, obviously, at this point.
Yeah, the ankle as well, Scotty.
It's a double-edged sword, because I feel what Gint's saying there. You know, you want to take care of Embiid at the end of the day because your season relies on him, right? But like, there's the other side of it where it is like Phil said, you kind of need to get this W at home. You got 4 days off, he can rest after that. But it's such a double-edged sword. I don't know how to feel about that. I trust that they evaluated him. He wants to go.
Yeah, I think the other thing
must win at this point, you know, or whatever game it is.
It all comes down to how much weight this Utah Jazz game in November holds for you. Yeah. But the problem is, like, you want to make sure he's good to go by the end of the year, but we also get tired of having to talk about Joel Embiid missing action. Now, tonight, shoulder, ankle, back-to-back. This would be the ideal situation to rest him. However, he's already missed a handful of games to start the season. So if he hasn't missed a game yet, we'd be like, all right, no Joel. He's already missed 3 or 4. Okay, here's no Joel again. And not to mention, I hate the way they handle the whole situation. If he's not going to play, he's not going to play. Let's not wait till 6:45 in some cases when the game started at 7:05 to announce that he's out. He's a late scratch and the starting lineup changes. I cannot stand it. But Scotty, I want to kind of bounce off of your point of controlling the boards, because I'm looking at the numbers here. The Philadelphia 76ers are 30th in rebounds. They average 39 a game. The Utah Jazz are tied for 16th. They average 44.5. The Philadelphia 76ers are tied for 28th in offensive boards. The Utah Jazz are tied for 8th. So they find a way to crash the glass, and that's going to play a big role in tonight's game, because like you've mentioned some of the guys, Laurie Markkinen, obviously standing out. What's he averaging this year? He is averaging over 22 a game, 8.5 rebounds, 2.5 assists. So he's been really, really good in his new role in Utah.
Playing like an all-star.
they are not, I know the record doesn't show it right now, but they are not that highly talented of a team. Like Phil had mentioned earlier in the show, they're trying to tank right now. They moved Gobert and Donovan Mitchell to try to kind of hit the reset button moving forward. Don't give a lesser talented team so many second chances. We cannot have defensive possessions going 22, 23 seconds, force them into a bit, play great defense the whole possession, and then let up a second chance board. And then a foul, and they go to the free throw line, or a kick out, and it's a corner three. Those are the possessions that absolutely kill you and come back to bite you later on in the game. Even if in the moment it doesn't seem like that big of a swing, you let that add up 12, 13, 14 times throughout the course of a night, it's going to come back to get you, Scotty. But let's get into our goal of the game here tonight, and I'll throw it to you, Phil. Let us know what you think. Because we try to come up with one for every show here, what we want them to do. And this basically what we've talked about for the last couple of minutes is our goal of the game. Scotty, what do we got?
So the goal of the game, win the battle in the glass, right? This is the 8th ranked offensive rebounding team. You got beat down on the offensive boards last night, 12-2. So come out, control the glass tonight. That starts once again with Embiid. He's going to be the starting center. He's got to control the glass himself. But also guys like D'Anthony Melton, Tobias Harris, you got to come down there and help. You got to gang rebound. Especially against a team that obviously is fairly good at rebounding, despite my lack of knowledge with the Utah Jazz. They are fairly good at rebounding based on the numbers there. And just controlling the glass. That's the main point there. Win the rebounding battle, and I think you can win this game ultimately. Do not give them second chances, because they do have a bunch of shooters out there, guys that can space the floor. Jordan Clarkson being one of them, one of those guys that just loves to torch the Sixers. So definitely want to control the glass, make sure you're limiting opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say goal of the game, don't let someone like Kelly Olynyk beat you. Did you guys know he's shooting almost 55% from three? He started 14 games. Some perimeter. I mean, they got some guys. They got 6 guys in double figures.
Yeah.
Jordan Clarkson, he's a guy we're used to coming off the bench. I mean, he's a guy that you might question me. I mean, hasn't he destroyed us a few times?
Yes, he has.
Hasn't he come off the bench and cry? I feel like we've been wanting him to be traded to the Sixers for 5 years now.
Literally
rumored again this.
So some perimeter defense. I know rebounding is important, but if you play good perimeter defense and keep some of these sharpshooters from knocking down shots, but my real goal of the game is I need one person to score 15 or more points outside of the big three. I need to see somebody step up. I guess Melton's back. What have they announced whether he's starting tonight or not, or if Matisse? I haven't
he's back.
Seen it yet.
No, but I'm
if he's starting. I need 15 points from him. I need him taking double-digit shots tonight, taking some of the pressure off somebody else. If not him, whether it's Shake Milton, somebody needs 15 points off the bench or Melton. That to me, that gets us over the hump tonight. Somebody else stepping up and scoring big tonight.
No, it's a great point, because Scotty and I, we had a pre-record yesterday's pregame show, so we spoke highly of D'Anthony Melton, not knowing that he was not playing last night. So he can somewhat be an X factor. We're talking about the back-to-back here tonight. He did not play last night. He is the freshest guy in the starting 5, the freshest guy on the Sixers team tonight. And he's capable, right, Phil? Like he hasn't shown it offensively yet. He's done a lot of the little things, deflections, steals, rebounding. He's been very good defensively. But he has not shined offensively. And no, he's not a 18, 20 point per game scorer, but he averages double figures throughout his career, right? So he is a guy that's capable of knocking down shots from the perimeter. He can get to the lane, can knock down free throws. So that 15-point line, I think, is what did I say last night, Scotty? 13 or 14 I was looking for him. So let's bump it to 15, 16.
I'm looking at shots or field goals attempted per game. The Sixers only have 4 guys, the big 4, that take more than 8.5 shots a game. Melton averages 8.5 shots a game. He needs to take 12 shots.
Got to be a tick higher,
It's got to be 12 shots tonight. Something in that range to help get them over the hump there big time.
Yeah, no, I like that one a lot. Because it is going to take someone other than that guy, than those 3 guys. But with that being said, that does not mean this is a night where Tobias Harris can just not show up after having 21, 22 points last night. He cannot shoot 4 for 17 tonight. So the 3 have to step up and kind of take the sails take the wind out of Utah's sails. But no, I like both keys, and to kind of go to the perimeter defense and controlling the glass, Scotty. What's a similarity in those two things? What's that word we spoke on a lot yesterday?
Energy. Yeah.
There you go.
That's what it's all about.
There.
Energy. And hey, let me say this just about the Utah Jazz, because energy is a huge part tonight as well, just as it was. It's always going to be a huge part with the Sixers because it's where they lack. They lack energy most of the time. This young Utah team, very deep. As Phil said, they got 6 guys that average double figures. Just a very deep team. I look at their team and like who they've beaten. They have 8 or 9 high quality wins. You could probably take the wins against the Lakers. I think they have 2 wins against the Lakers. You could probably take those out. And they have about 6 to 7 high quality wins against teams that we would consider playoff contenders. So like looking at this Utah Jazz team, not that I think the Sixers are going to take them for granted tonight. They need to be aware of what they're walking into, because this Jazz team, it's not one of those like those teams that just got hot at the beginning of the season and they're going to fade on. I don't think that's the case with them. I think what they have is very sustainable because they're deep, they're young, and in the regular season, you can steal wins like that. You can still win on the road in Philly tonight on the tail end of the back-to-back with young, deep, energized roster. When they get to the playoffs, if they do make the playoffs, if they stay at this rate, they will. I think that's where you see talent, stardom, that comes into effect. That's where they'll ultimately falter. But on any given night in the regular season, I think this team can beat anybody if they're not stepping up to the plate and ready to go full 40 minutes there, 48 minutes.
Energy and effort.
Yeah.
In front of your home crowd tonight for your coach, like Phil said, and you're unveiling the new unis tonight, the new floor tonight. I know they're not a fan favorite to start. We'll see if they can grow throughout the year.
I ain't rushing out to buy one like that.
No, not at all. I don't love it. The only thing I'm just interested to see how it blends. Like we look at the uniforms and I'm like, oh, but to see it kind of the whole aesthetic, like see
with
the
court.
uniforms with the new floor, the scoreboard changed. Just see how it looks. It might look a little better all combined with the red and white than just the brotherly love. By the way, is it me or is it like it's not centered? Is it not? Like the brotherly love like looks
weird font.
high.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan. I've seen people, coming around to it in a sense, or just buying it to buy it, I guess, but I'm not a fan. The font is really font is what does it. The font is what's disgusting about it. And I think that's what you mean when it's not centered. It's like cursive.
And it's kind of small too. I feel like I
it
just
is.
feel like
it is small. It's thin.
Yeah, like there's just
I didn't like the one with the city skyline in the background. I think what was it, Boathouse Row in the background originally?
The year before last.
I thought from a distance it looked like Chinese writing on the jersey. It was always what I thought. But now I would rather rush out and go buy one of those than this because
I would rather have those, the boat row jerseys. At least they were black.
I didn't mind those as much. I'll say one thing though. I know everybody loves the Spectrum, and I love the Spectrum ones as well. Phil, you have one in the background right there. They just overdid it, and I hope they don't do that this year. Like, dude, they were wearing the Spectrum jerseys on the road. They wore them in the playoffs. Like,
they did wear them a lot.
Well, why? This should be like a couple times throughout the year at home with the floor. It's not your alternate road jersey. So I got a little frustrated.
They're better than the actual real jerseys, in my opinion.
I think that was
my
the
favorite
problem.
Sixer jersey is the red one. That's my favorite uniform the Sixers have right now.
That Spectrum was nice, man.
Dude, I'd wear the Spectrum one every single day if I could.
And honestly, I love this font.
It's hanging up because I don't fit in it anymore.
This font, I love. The Spectrum font.
Yeah,
that was what did it for me.
But with that being said, let's move on to the next segment, one of the funner segments and a monetized segment here, Scotty, because we won a little bit of money yesterday, and hopefully we're picking up a little hot streak here on our best bet of the night. So we have a best bet, which we'll get to in a minute. It's a singular player prop. And then we also have a play of the night. It's a Sixers same game parlay. But I'm going to defer to my man, Phil. I don't know if you put anything in yet for the Sixers game?
I've got a parlay set for today. And as I'm sitting here, because I was trying to find my numbers, because there's one bet specifically I like, but I didn't write down what the odds were on it.
Right.
So as I've been Google search while you guys were just talking about jerseys, I was looking at it, and I got a best bet as well. So
All right,
I got
I'll defer to you with the parlay first.
all right, because I'm hitting
you
these
are hot
parlays.
today.
So, all right, so we're going over 26.5 points for Joel Embiid.
Okay.
And this is a 7-legger. I don't like 7 or 6-leg parlay. Don't like 6-leg parlays. It's too risky, but I'm feeling it today. So Joel over 26.5. Harris and Maxey both getting 2 3-pointers. I came down on the Harris points, only 13.5 points over on that. Maxey over 4.5 assists, and I bumped up the line and I went minus 4.5 for the Sixers. It's plus 900. I've got it boosted to 1260. And I went for the full. They only maxed. They maxed me out at $10, so I put the full max on that one.
I like it. All right, so this is Scotty and I's same game parlay for tonight, and we do these. So that we'll call that your moonshot. That's shooting for the stars.
Yeah, that's shooting for that's 6 legs. That's shooting for the stars. But
ours is 6 legs as well.
I'm on a heater right now, so you might as well.
Ours is 6 legs as well, but it's a little smaller. So here's what we got for you. We have Joel Embiid 25 plus points. God willing that the shoulder and the ankle are okay, he should be able to walk to 25 tonight. Tobias Harris 12 plus points. Tyrese Maxey 15 plus points. Tobias Harris 1 plus 3-pointer made. D'Anthony Melton over 2.5 rebounds. Tobias Harris over 3.5 rebounds. Boosted 40% plus 294 on DraftKings. So it's 6 legs. I said a lot of words there. It feels like a lot. 12 points, 15 points, 3 rebounds, a 3-pointer.
You got some very conservative numbers there.
Yeah. So that's our play. Plus 294 is our same game parlay of the day. Phil, what's your best bet of the night?
All right. So let me just say this, okay? Before saying the player's name, in his last 4 games, he's got 27 assists, never below 5. That's Tyrese Maxey.
Okay.
All right. So in that same game parlay, I had over 4.5 assists, which is minus 165. And I think I might go back and bet that. But then as I was going to find out what that number was, because I didn't write the actual minus 165 down, it's plus 115 for over 5.5 assists. 26 assists in 4 games. That's just under 7 a game his last 4 games. I don't know. Tyrese Maxey guarantees going to hit the over 4.5 assists. I might actually lean toward 5.5 as the best bet now.
Yeah,
and really take that plus 115 there.
Just got to get the one more there, and he's, those 4
games.
And
he's hitting it. He's hitting it every single day.
And
he had 9 last night.
It's not a coincidence that he has to be the facilitator. It's been since James Harden's absence. He's the guy that gets them into their sets, into their offense. He can also run in the fast break. So Tyrese Maxey over 5.5 assists for Phil. Scotty, common theme here. We're going to go back to Tyrese Maxey, and we're going to go back to the well from yesterday. What is our best bet of the night?
Yeah, the best bet of the night. I woke up, I saw it this morning. As soon as those odds came up, I was looking for it. I was like, no, they didn't do it again. They had the Maxey over 2.5 3-pointers, so 3 threes, plus 100 once again. And I'm going to take that every single time they got that in the plus factory. I'm taking that bet because he's going to shoot enough to get that, right? And it's just a matter of him making them. He got on the right track last night. Hit the third one in like the fourth quarter. I think he gets us out of the way a little bit earlier tonight. Doesn't have me kind of on my heels towards the end of the game. I even took it a step further with my own personal, this isn't our best bet, nothing like that. Obviously, Maxey over 2.5 threes plus 100. Maxey 4 plus threes, Sixers money line plus 400. Ooh. That's where I'm at tonight. I'm loving Maxey. I feel like he got back in his groove last night. I think Embiid can still have his game tonight, but Maxey can kind of feed off what Embiid was able to do last night, the extra attention that'll draw. So I'm feeling Maxey.
Your 3s, my 5.5 assists in the money line.
That might be really nice. that sounds like a good one. I might throw that down with you.
I am going after this show and putting that one down there. I like it a lot.
Scotty, I really like what you just said there that at the end, though. What Joel Embiid should not have any impact in Tyrese Maxey's production. Now, take this with a grain. Obviously, I get it. Joel Embiid's out there, the attention, the ball's in his hands a lot, how many shots, it's less shots. I get it. It has an effect to an extent. My point being, Joel Embiid being on the floor and his production should not hinder Tyrese Maxey from being aggressive. And that's been the one thing we've talked about throughout the last year and a half, really, is when he's on the floor by himself or with one other star, you see the kid shine. When he gets swallowed up in the big four, he sits back. He's hesitant. You were talking about the Seth Curry, the Danny Green pump fake, right? And being hesitant to let it fly. He got the bad couple shooting nights out of the way, bounced back in a big way last night. He was 3 for 5. I expect him to take more than 5 threes tonight. And I think they're going to need him to on the back-to-back to find a way to win. So I really like it should not have an impact on how aggressive Tyrese Maxey is tonight. Phil, starting with you, player of the game and predictions for the game tonight. Do the Sixers win 2 straight on the back-to-back, and who is the catalyst?
It's the Sixers absolutely win back-to-back. I'm not buying the Jazz at all. The Sixers, even though they're home and home, they're going to make a statement tonight. They know they got 4 days off. They're trying to win one for Doc tonight. Plus, our man Sleepy Dave is ringing the bell tonight. So that's good luck.
Hell yeah.
Sleepy Dave is ringing the bell tonight. So the crowd's going to be quiet. There's no booing going on tonight. Sixers win. Tyrese Maxey, just like we all said, whether it's the assists, the threes. Hell, it's going to be a borderline triple-double type night from Tyrese Maxey. Tyrese Maxey's the player of the game tonight.
I like it.
Scotty, who is your star of the game, and do the Sixers win?
Yes, sir. So I think this is going to be another Embiid game, quite honestly. I think Maxey's going to have a game as well. So, pick your poison as far as, which one you want to give it to. But I'm going to go with on the Embiid side just because Phil went the Maxey way. I think Embiid, you look at this Jazz team, there's no more Rudy Gobert there, right? Nope. So you have to ask yourself, who's really going to stop Joel Embiid on that Jazz team, right? Is it going to be Lauri Markkanen, Kelly Olynyk? I mean, we've seen all of these matchups before. They do not favor the opposer. I think Embiid dominates tonight. He dominates early, kind of sets the tone for his squad. Similar to what Phil says, it's a statement game tonight, right? The Jazz are the number 1 team in the West, and I don't take them lightly, but at the same time, the Sixers are better than the Utah Jazz, right? They have more star power, even without James Harden. They have a better overall team than the Utah Jazz. You got to come out here and prove that tonight. I have Embiid with 30, 11, and 4. Let's keep the turnovers low tonight as well. Slow it down a little bit. Be patient. I have the Sixers winning 108-99.
108-99. Win, Embiid, Maxey. Scotty, I'm going to pick up where I left off yesterday because my man did not get a chance to play in last night's game, and that's DeAnthony Melton. And I say that just to be a little bit different, and to Phil's point, someone else has to step up. He's going to be the 5th starter tonight. And energy. That's what we keep talking about for the Sixers team. He's fresh. He had the night off yesterday. Yes, due to injury, but he's still fresh nonetheless. I need him to be a little bit more aggressive offensively. I think the energy translates on the defensive end, get them out in the fast break, help in transition defense. This is not a player of the game to score 25 points. This is just a player of the game to play well on both sides of the ball and contribute in the realm of 14, 15, 16 points, 6 or 7 boards, a couple assists, and just be that other guy. Be the other that steps up tonight. I'm going DeAnthony Melton, star of the game. I'm going Sixers win. I kind of like your scores. I feel like they hold Utah to under 100, Scotty. I don't know why. I'm going to go Sixers win 106-95. I believe.
I know we're doing score predictions specifically. I don't like doing basketball score predictions.
Oh,
fair enough.
Extremely hard.
To piggyback off what you said, Dylan, I could see the Sixers holding the Jazz under 90. 88, 89, like 100 to 88, 101, 89, something like that as the score tonight.
That's the kind of ball that favors the Sixers, if we're being honest.
Low scoring.
The pace is slowed down, a lot of half-court stuff, a lot of 21, 22, 23-second possessions, lower scored. You saw it against Phoenix, right? If that game was 120-118, the Sixers are probably on the other end of that winning the win-loss column there. So we all got a Sixers win tonight. Let's hope they show up because you're just looking for a straw to just grab at and just be like, okay, this is positivity. They beat the Hawks last night in the fashion they did. They come out and lay a clunker tonight and lose to Utah.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, man. And what are the excuses? Oh, it was a back-to-back and Embiid's not help. I'm tired of
excuses, man. And you see that, like you said, you're grabbing at straws. We're trying to build something here. We're trying to build hope, right? Us sitting here talking around the Sixers. We're trying not to be negative. We're trying not to fall into that mirage that is the Sixers and their streakiness. But go ahead, get this W tonight. Then we have 4 days we can marinate on this 2-game win streak. And maybe, just maybe, we'll pick you to win against the Bucks on Friday. We gotta get this W first, though, right? We gotta set
Thursday
the
or Friday,
tone, man.
Friday.
Yeah, 4 days off.
And that's at home, correct? Or is it in Milwaukee?
At home, and then they got the T-Wolves at home as well, I believe.
All right, so we got, like you said, we'll have a lot of days to come on here and discuss this team, and hopefully in a positive light.
Or it's going to be fire, Doc Rivers.
Yeah. With that being said,
tomorrow morning is supposed to be Eagles preview. I'm starting tomorrow morning off with
there you go. Fire, Doc. You might get the chance tonight. But guys, DSM Media and the DSM Pre Game Live is brought to you by Gents Barber Lounge. Check out one of 2 great locations in Fishtown and Old City and book your appointment today. Gents owns the craft, and it shows. Rated the #1 barbershop on Yelp in the Philadelphia area, having multiple award-winning barbers and being able to handle any style of cut, adult or kid. Take a look at some of their work. Check them out at gentsbarberlounge.com to book your appointment today. Again, that is gentsbarberlounge.com. Check us out on Twitter at DSM_media. Hit that follow button. We greatly appreciate it. And while you're over on the channel, check out our pinned tweet. Check out the link tree in our bio to take you over to the YouTube channel. Subscribe, comment #DSM on the pinned tweet link, and you will be entered for a chance to win one of 2 great prizes that we are running right now through the end of November. So go help us out there. We greatly appreciate it. For myself, for Scotty, for Phil, have a great rest of your night, and go Sixers.
Go Pack, go.
And Philadelphia has it.